Welcome back, everyone, to Disc Golf Daily. I am your host of the Sunday Most, Ben Kenny. Here we are with Garrett of Hooligan Discs, a up-and-coming manufacturer in the disc golf industry, and we're just going to find more about who he is, what he does, and kind of what he does for the sport. And if you're watching on YouTube, apologies if his video is a little blurry. I am using my phone hotspot because my home Wi-Fi doesn't work. But alas, you gotta keep on keeping on, baby. So Garrett, tell us more about yourself and your brand, Hooligan Discs, and what you are.
Absolutely. So Hooligan is a brand I started back a little over 2 years ago now. We still ran out of my house, have a shop at my house. My wife and friends all help, and it's growing pretty good. Initially, we were manufactured by Lone Star until we, had some growing pains there and slowly transitioned. We've been manufacturing with a partner up in Missouri, Gateway. Most of you probably know who Gateway is. And all that's been going pretty good. I also own the discbarn.com, so that's another side of Hooligan, if you will. So if you go on the discbarn.com, we got Hooligan for sale on there, as well as many other discs. And that was a little over 3 years ago now. So I got both companies. Pretty simple guy, got a wife and a 3-year-old, and just enjoying this disc golf run, building Hooligan with you, Ben.
Yes. I'm sponsored by Hooligan. So he's my only sponsor, actually. So it's been great working with Garrett, and that's why I was like, I had to bring him on. So just tell us how you got your start into disc golf manufacturing, and for anyone that maybe wants to start, what do you have to do to get it off the ground and running, just cost-wise? If you want to let us know.
Yeah, so there's two different paths that you can kind of take. You can buy your machines and buy, dryers and everything you need to make discs and go that method, or you can find a manufacturing partner like I did. Initially, I had reached out to a bunch of different companies, Discraft, MVP. I reached out to them, and nobody had capacity during COVID. They were all full. But during the Piney Woods Open here in Texas, that's the largest ATR here in Texas, there was a person on my card that actually worked for Lone Star Discs, and I live in Texas. I'd never even heard of them, so they were still pretty young into the game. But he told me that they had some capacity if I was interested, and got me set up with their owner. I drove down to Houston. I'm from Dallas. I drove down to Houston, met the owner, and from there it was super simple. But finding a partner is definitely the first step, unless you want to do it yourself and you have the funds and means to do so. But a lot of different industries and what you see and stuff you use and almost everything is done with a manufacturing partner in mind. Even the iPhone, right, is manufactured with a partner, not straight by Apple, right? It's Foxconn. Everybody uses partners. I think it's super important. And it also is helpful because usually you get to pick a partner that probably can do it better than you, or else you do it yourself. So I think that's also really, really important.
Sweet. And that's a good intro story. You just kind of were looking to do it, and you did it. A little motivation for everyone wants to do it, just go for it. But for anyone that does want to go for it, what are those like kind of upfront costs that people don't expect or realize when they want to do something like disc golf manufacturing? And how much money would you say you would need to put towards it to just start up and, let's say, get your first mold?
Yeah. So if you're just going to start a disc golf company with your first mold and you're going to use a partner, obviously they have MOQs and everything. So you can't just say like, hey, ship me 20 of these. I'm going to sell them and start from there. Especially if you're going to make your own mold. If you're going to use tops and bottoms, you can, for this scenario, we'll talk, as cheap as you could probably get it with low MOQs and everything. I would probably say around 8 to 10 grand. I mean, honestly, in the grand scheme of other businesses, I'd say that's on the very low side. As long as you've got a partner that already knows how to make discs and has the means to do so, and there's not the huge investment cost in all of that and the learning cost. But if you're going to use tops and bottoms or shared molds, got to get a website going. You got to get your LLC set up. All that costs a little bit of money. So we'll lean towards the 10 grand side, but it's really, if you set your mind to it, it's not super hard. I think anybody could really do it. You just got to make sure you find a way to differentiate yourself, and really care about what you're doing, because you're gonna have to put some time into it.
And for anyone that doesn't know, explain to them what MOQ means.
And do you know what MOQ means?
Minimum order quantity.
Okay, I'm just checking. Yeah, sorry. I always hate when people use acronyms too, so I don't know why I did. But yeah, minimum
I already
order
explained
quantity.
it to the listeners, so I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
There you go. So when he says MOQ, it's like basically it has to be worth, any manufacturer that you work with, even in China, wherever, it has to be worth their time. Because they're just making a vast amount of stuff. They're not going to make ones or twos off, but those are like more samples. But yeah, some of them you have to order like 300 of a item and you get lower pricing, but like that's the minimum because it's not worth their time. They're just making so much other stuff. But yeah, just get us into kind of the biggest struggles so far that you've had in creating this brand with Hooligan Discs.
Absolutely. So initially with Lone Star, everything was going really good. But that COVID boom hit, the Ranger team started up. Their capacity got really, really filled. So that was hard. I would ask, I need yeets, maybe, or I guess the yeet was the first mold, so there was no problems there. But let's start with the rope, right? I needed the rope, but they're buying new machines and expanding their capacity, and they're still completely full. And I totally understand they're going to make more profit off of their discs than me. So if you are using a partner that's in the same industry, you're going to run into those kind of growing pains. So they obviously prioritize their molds and their manufacturing. And when they had free time, basically, is when they were able to run Hooligan. And at the same time, Hooligan is somewhat of a competitor, right? So they're manufacturing obviously they're making money off of Hooligan, but they're not making nearly as much off of mine as they are theirs. So there was a lot of growing pains there. And then, it seems like there was somewhat of a downfall of Lone Star and some other issues that I think a lot of people know about, but I won't go into on here. But we decided to look around for other partners. I talked to a good amount of people and landed with Gateway. And if you're not familiar with Gateway plastic, if you haven't felt it lately, I would highly recommend it. It's really good stuff. Back in 3 years ago when I first started, I actually talked with them, and I wasn't a huge fan of everything they had sent me and all the samples of plastic blends. But when they reached out the second go around, sent me their new NXT plastic and new drivers they'd been working on, they've completely turned everything around. Everything was amazing. Got on probably a 1 hour phone call with them, and it was all music to my ears. You want metal flake, you want just all this sort of additives, all these different plastic blends. They could do it. They could do it quickly, which is huge for me. If you are working like I am with pretty low funds, it's really hard to plan releases 6 months in advance because you just don't know what the bank account looks like that far out. So with them, I've been able to say, you know what, I need 1,000 of these, and if I could have them in 3 weeks, that would be amazing. Obviously, they don't prefer that method, but if they do have the capacity and the means to do so, they've been really good at doing that. But so that's from the start to the beginning, or from the beginning to now. Biggest growing pains, like I said, was kind of growing out of Lone Star. Obviously, there's always financial issues along the way, and I've got somebody in the warehouse packing orders now, so hopefully that'll free me up, but at the same time it's more financial burden. But trying to free myself up to be able to do more of the day-to-day business, work with other retailers, work with getting new molds out, all that sort of stuff.
Sweet. And kind of on the inverse, what would you say has been kind of your biggest accomplishment so far? What you're most proud of in that manufacturing process?
Yeah, absolutely. So, launching is hard, right? Launching costs a lot of money. Trying to get all the advertising. I have no experience in advertising or marketing or any of that. My background's in a computer science type business degree called information systems. So I was pretty proud on release day when we had I think release day was 2,000 discs, and we sold 80% of those, which was really cool to me. I assumed I was marketing correctly and reaching the right people, but I wasn't positive. I'd never done it before. So that was a pretty big feat to me. And then I wanted to make sure, I learned from what happened with this mania leaving Innova, right? All their molds were shared molds. So I made sure with Lone Star, obviously we had a few shared molds, but there were a few that I wanted to own. The cash, rope, and flip I do own. I was able to have them ship those to Texas. We've shipped those up to Missouri. And there's some work to be done on those, but it's not very often you see a mold made by a manufacturer move to another manufacturer, right? Have you ever had a disc made in two separate plastics from different manufacturers before? Nothing comes to my mind. So I'm pretty proud of being able to do that, right? So we'll have the cash, you have it, it was made by Lone Star in their plastic. Without remaking the mold, it's going to be in Gateway plastic now, right? It's actually moving manufacturers, and that's something that I haven't seen anyone else do.
Wait, so you said this Mania shared molds with Innova? I didn't know that. I thought they were all unique molds.
No, they were tops and bottoms. They were not.
Okay.
So when they left Innova,
That makes
they
sense.
didn't get to take any of the tops and bottoms with them, right? They had to start from scratch and try to remake the DD3 as close as they could. All new steel and everything.
I thought you meant like the DD3 was the destroyer. I'm like, I don't know if that's correct.
No. Yeah, no. Shared
but
tops
yeah,
and
that
bottoms,
makes that makes sense.
So they fully, the DD3 that you get now was completely remade. Obviously, it's got a few slight differences. The cash, rope, and flip that we have, that anybody had from Lone Star Plastic, is not being remade. It's literally just getting injected by a new machine. Yep.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
I'm pretty proud of that. I wanted to make sure that we were able to do that in case we ever did grow out of Lone Star, and we did. And I was able to move those. So that was pretty awesome.
Sweet. So do you have any exciting type of things that you want to talk about that are coming down the pipeline as a manufacturer?
Yeah. So our 2-year was in May, but as I said, there's always got a chipmunk running right by me. Always financial burdens, and so we're trying to get. Literally just ran under my chair. It's a little distracting. That's hilarious. So we're trying to get a pretty cool disc released for this 2-year celebration. It'll be a little bit late due to some tooling and other issues, but without giving away too much, it's definitely one of our most popular discs ever, and it's about to be back into the public. And I've already got it in my hands, and it's amazing. It's so much better. It was so good before, and it's so much better now. I think everyone's going to love it. I think other than that, we're not really talking with too many pro players right now on sponsorships. We've kind of taken a backseat on that for a little bit while we try to get everything going with Gateway and get the plastic blends figured out and all our molds settled before we get back into sponsorships and whatnot. But 2-year anniversary is going to be huge.
Yeah, so stay tuned. It's going to be very exciting. And if you want to support Garrett, I actually have a code BEN10 on Hooligan Discs, so 10% off the entire website. So if you want it, even on release day, he even those discs, you're able to use
valid no matter what.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So
that's right.
And it 100% supports Garrett. I don't get any commission from it, so it's just it supports Garrett and it supports you guys. So I just did it so you guys can have a little discount if you know me and want to support Hooligan. So recently you implemented a team, which is what I'm part of for Hooligan Discs. Yep. Tell us about that process and the pros and cons and how you're trying to separate yourself from other teams in disc golf.
Yeah, so we have a couple different levels. We've got a creator team, which is mainly, maybe they do play a lot of tournaments, but maybe they don't. Maybe they're mainly focused on YouTube and Instagram and all that sort of stuff. So we've got that. We've got the Hula Squad, which is going to be the tier below, like 950 rated. The players below that are grinding really hard, trying to grow their rating, want some support, want a company to represent and a company they like. That's the Hula Squad. And then we have the Hula Gang, which is going to be your 950 plus players. They're all touring, trying to get on tour, growing, trying to be that local pro. They get, little more financial incentives and whatnot to keep growing that. Sorry if this truck's a little loud, someone's driving by. But to differentiate our team, we do give them a lot of benefits. They all get early releases. There's a team page, so they'll find out about this 2-year anniversary disc before anyone else. They'll all get access. Every single tier level will get access to those discs before anybody else. They all get discounts. They all get free hot stamp add-ons to customize their stuff. And more than anything, I think it's communication. I try to be as available as possible. I talk to them all on the team page. They all message me. So anybody has questions, trying to figure out how to grow. Some people have their own businesses and they'll want to contact me and talk about that and stuff. And so the team is more of a family than it is a team, right? It's more of just getting people together. We do have minimum requirements for all the teams, so it's not just anybody gets on, right? As some other teams have been. So me and my buddies go through all the applications, decide who fits the criteria, who fits the brand, make sure everything looks good, and that the outlook looks good. But it's really just it's a community. I'd like to think of it more of a community than a team.
I agree. Yeah, being on the hooligan
Northeast Hooligan.
Yeah, the Northeast Hooligan
Creator team.
Yeah,
you're basically creator gang. You're creator gang.
It's been awesome and tons of benefits. I mean, just the discount code alone that you get personally to get your disc is one of the best, and you get a jersey, a polo, and like Garrett said, access to these discs. And it's been.
And if you're on the team, obviously we like to throw stuff in there, and they get access to factory seconds and blanks and all sorts of fun stuff.
So it's been definitely one of the best teams I've been on so far, and I've only been on 2, but the other team was also great too. So I haven't had any complaints, with both of them. So, so tell us more about kind of your, you named it Hooligan Discs. That might be to some people be like, why hooligan? It's so tell us more about the aesthetic and branding and just your idea behind naming it Hooligan.
Yeah, so hooligan means young troublemaker. And so I just turned 30. In September, I turned 30. So I'm on the fairly young side of disc golf manufacturers. And I think a lot of disc golf is branding. And to me, hooligan encompasses what I picture for the company. I don't want it to be taken seriously. I try not to take anything seriously. It's obviously I'm trying to grow the business, but I'm also trying to have fun with the business. I want customers to be happy, people to just be happy with the brand and want to be a part of it naturally. And so far, everybody that I've tried to surround myself with are a bunch of hooligans. We just go out, play, have fun, lots of banter. Once I thought of the name Hooligan, which was honestly probably 4 years ago, I knew for sure that was the name I was going to use. It just encompasses me and who I am as a person. My 3-year-old straight hooligan. You, Ben, you're a straight hooligan. So it just fits. And when you know, and hooligan was it. So young troublemaker. That's it. We're a troublemaker in the industry of disc golf.
And I like that. You're what is it called? I don't know the word I'm trying to think of. Disruptor. Yeah, disruptor.
There you go.
I like that. Doing things different, or at least trying to. Yeah. And then kind of just talk to us more about, the logo, the actual logo itself, and the orange and the white. Kind of just let us know your thought process behind that. I just basically why I'm asking these questions is might sound like very basic. I want anyone that's kind of wanting to start a brand in disc golf or anything to kind of glean some advice from this that they could use to inspire them to possibly make their own brand.
Yeah. If you're trying to make your own brand, there are certain colors that are supposed to invoke certain emotions and certain perceptions of the company. Personally, orange has been my favorite color since I was a kid. All through school, my all 4 walls in my room were orange. One was black, I guess. Orange and black have been my colors since day one, and a lot of Hooligan was just doing something I was passionate about and trying to grow a brand that represents me. So I wouldn't say I'm necessarily trying to gear it towards, um, orange and black for any business reasons, other than it's just what I really like. The brackets, have to do a lot with coding. So like I said, I was computer science. Brackets are used in a lot of different coding ways. And so we kept that on the H. We originally had it on the main Hooligan logo, but I was getting a lot of hate mail on the similarities between us and another company. And so I quickly changed that as soon as I could, just so we could get out of that stigma. I never want any negativity towards the Hooligan brand. So we kept it on the H. I think it looks really good. It's easy to slap on hats. But I mean, honestly, yeah, just trying to create a brand that I like and that I would wear and that I feel passionate about is all I was going for, not necessarily what the market would go for. I've always liked the blue and green color scheme for a business. To me, that always pops and looks really good on apparel. But black and orange, maybe a little more niche, but it was more for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess that's really like kind of what all, I guess, companies and brandings start with, where it's just like, your favorite colors and stuff like that. Like for my tackle store, palette. Yeah, I probably could have put blue in there, but we just did like a brown, darker chocolate brown and a yellow, and this was, or like my disc golf expo. If you're on YouTube, you can kind of see it there. Just blue and yellow. It's, I don't know, it's just, I liked it, and I went with it, even though my favorite color is not blue. But it just felt.
Yeah, I mean, if you like it, right, and it invokes a passion into you, you got to do it.
Yes, precisely. So, is there anything else that we kind of haven't talked about that you would, or any advice that you give to anyone kind of starting this journey on making their own brand, whether it's just anything, whether it's clothing or discs, or specifically to disc golf? Any advice? I guess what I'm saying is, any advice where you give someone where you were like, oh, I wish I had this. I wish I knew about this way sooner. Where you went through like the growing pains of it, and maybe you can help someone skip that portion, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So skip that portion. I think I'm still working on it. So obviously I would love to quit my job one day. I think it's just really important to, if you have a passion, there's so many people out there that have a business idea and they just want to do it and they don't ever do it and they don't know how to do it. But it's just, you just start, and you don't have to do it with any sort of vision of, I'm quitting my job, I'm growing a massive company. You just have to figure out how to make $1 at a time, right? And start your business. And maybe it's $100 a month, and that's all you want out of it, but it's something that you have fun with. I mean, it's important to do something that you're passionate about. If it's just something that you're like, man, this would sell, but you don't care about it, you're not going to put the time into it. And maybe you're a super hard worker and you do put the time into it, but you're not going to enjoy it. It's going to be just like any other job that you've ever done. So make sure you're passionate about it. I did a bunch of other stuff as a kid, trying to make money. I remember at one point I bought a bunch of auxiliary cables. It's like, man, I see these on eBay. I had to buy an auxiliary cable for my car back in 2000s, right? They were, I don't know, $8, and I found them in China for $2. And so I was trying to start a business selling those, but obviously I didn't care about them, right? I didn't hustle. I didn't want to go on and learn all the SEO to get my auxiliary cables off the shelf and whatnot. Lots of stuff like that growing up, trying to figure out what I should do. Finally, I've been playing disc golf 12 years before I started the Disc Barn in Hooligan. So just clicked that it was something I was passionate about. It made sense. And it shows. I finally found something that I'm good at, and I think people can tell that I care about.
Yeah, it's so funny because I had the same experience. I tried basketball, I tried music, making music. Those are like my two things that I really tried hard to like get good at. And until I found disc golf, that's when I realized, like, wow, this is what it actually means to be like in love with something and passionate, and how it doesn't feel like a job ever. So yeah, it was this like grand opening. Like, I didn't like making music that much because with disc golf, it's all I want to do. It's all I want to think about. It's all I want to practice isn't annoying. Or like doing work for it isn't annoying. It's just, I love the sport that much that anything to do with it is super fun. Like today, I have this is my first podcast of 3 podcasts, so I'm gonna probably be recording for 5 hours today.
You're excited about it, right? I mean,
I don't see it as a job or work. It's enjoyable, and that's what's important. And I think if you take anything from this episode, I think that's the most important thing. You might not like disc golf, and that's okay. And find something you do like, and if you want to start your own side business or main business, or even if you don't really care and just like you want to work your job and go play disc golf or do whatever, just find something that you're passionate about, because that's the most important thing for longevity. We all get burnt out after a while, but if you're really passionate about it, you'll get back up and keep on swinging. But
if it doesn't work out, you had fun along the way, right? I mean, you did something that was fun for you.
Dude, what if it doesn't work out? It's so sad. Fortunately, it's worked out so far for me. Knocking on.
Yeah, it's working out great for you.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, Garrett. This was super cool, kind of insightful. To get a manufacturer's perspective on their day to day and what they do, and making people realize, like, Innova, Discraft, and the big main manufacturers. They're not the main. They're the main companies, but there's a bunch of smaller companies kind of trying to get to that level that I think people don't realize. So, if anything, just check out Hooligan Discs. Check out what they got. I throw them. I love the dime. I pull their dimes and I throw their cash. And the Vibe has been super popular. Just like a flippy beat-in Wraith right out the box. So flips up and comes back. So check it out and use Ben 10 if you have anything you would like to purchase. Gary, is there anything you want to shout out before we kind of close up?
I'm just going to shout you out, Ben. Thank you for having me on the podcast. Thanks for having, Disc Golf Daily. I know you're working hard on this, and you got Funzy, you've got Staggered Stance. You're constantly grinding. I really appreciate it. I hope the disc golf industry and everybody in it appreciates it and sees the hard work you're putting in. And I just am grateful to be a part of it, right? I'm sitting here. I'm currently on vacation. We're in Red River, New Mexico. And I'm just getting to do this cool stuff with you. Bless you.
Thank you.
But I appreciate you, Ben, and everybody that's watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for whatever Ben has planned next.
Oh yeah, well, I guess we'll Disc South is the Disc Golf Expo I am bringing to Dallas, and Garrett's going to be a huge part of that. He's going to vend there.
That'll be a huge hooligan booth.
Yeah, he's going to vend there and just help me out. Just spreading the word. So if you are around Texas or in Dallas and you are interested in vending or being an attendee, you can go to discsouth.com for some preliminary information. I'm still working on updating more details, or you can follow at Disc Golf Expos. That'll have information what you were looking for on just what I've been doing in the Northeast, and DM me and message me at Disc Golf Expos, or email me discgolfexpos@gmail.com if you are interested in vending or even attending. I don't have tickets up yet, but we're trying to make this big. It's a 40,000 square foot room. It's very large. It can fit like 200 10 by 10 booth. It's very large. So it's going to be very exciting, and it's March 1st and 2nd, 2025. So if have seen the Northeast Disc Golf Expo and how it's been, I'm bringing it to Dallas as well. So the Northeast one's still going to happen, but I'm doing one in Dallas with Garrett. Well, Garrett will be a part of it. So it's a very exciting time. And yeah, thanks so much, Gary. I appreciate you hopping on.
Of course. Thanks for helping me just grow disc golf together. Of course.
You're movers and shakers, baby. All right, this has been Disc Golf Daily. Thank you so much. See you next Sunday.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It really does help us grow.